This story begins in a world that was already falling apart. For many years, humans had been struggling with poverty and civil wars. A series of storms and volcanic eruptions were destroying the world. Humans survived all of that. But then something happened suddenly, something very strange. In the dark of night, Mary, with a team of her soldiers, launches a flare into the sky, which lights up the field, and from afar a deafening scream is heard. It's the cry of a break. These are the huge, dangerous monsters that tore through the earth and emerged from underground after the world's collapse. As soon as the monsters' attack begins, Mary and her entire team risk their lives to fight these creatures. After that, the story jumps 15 years ahead. The world has completely changed. Mary is still alive and living with her husband John and their young daughter Willa. Because Mary is a soldier, she's often away on missions. So the responsibility for teaching and raising Willa falls to John. He was explaining things to Willa. Willa asks if the breaks are aliens, and he tells her they're not. He explains that the breaks had always been hidden beneath the ground, and when the earth split open, they came out. The place where the ground cracks open and they emerge is called Stage 30. Those recent atomic attacks broke the barriers, opening the stages from which the breakers come out. Anyway, Willa wasn't interested in hearing about them. She tells her dad, "If you won't tell me some random hero story, then tell me Codia's story." There was a legendary hero who, they say, felled the breakers with a single swing of his axe. When Mary is home, she tells Willa stories about many things: flowers, animals, and colors. But in this ruined world, all those things had vanished. They were enjoying a family moment when, all of a sudden, their entire building started shaking violently. Trucks pull up outside, and an announcement says they must evacuate immediately because the breakers are here too. People start getting Willa and the others ready to move. Suddenly, the whole atmosphere becomes very tense. Mary quickly gives Willa a gift and then rushes out. When they get downstairs, Mary learns the authorities have set very strict rules. Soldiers must go in separate vehicles, and their families in others. So Mary goes with her team, and John and Willa ride in a truck with the others. On the way, a man notices an old scar on John. He thinks John is infected. In this world, if those monsters, the breaks, bit any human, they were called infected, and infected people turned into strange monstrosities known as hybrids. John tries to convince everyone he isn't infected. He even says that if he shows even a single symptom, he'll take his own life to keep everyone else safe. The truck drives through the dark while explosions boom outside. To calm their fear, people start discussing Codia's story. John explains to Willa that in that tale, the hero didn't win by charging into the fight. The real thing is hope, the kind Cora had. And because of that hope, she saved everyone. We too must hold on to that same hope. While they talk, Willa starts to nod off, but the sudden sound of gunshots and screams snaps her eyes open. Then it stops, and silence falls inside. Suddenly, a huge claw tears through the iron wall and reaches in. It grabs a woman and drags her into the darkness. John realizes the truck has become a death trap, so he takes Willa and jumps off the truck. And the moment they step outside, they feel they've made a mistake, because the scene out there is utterly terrifying. A monster snatches a child, and the mother keeps screaming for her baby. There are many breakers here. To avoid them, people climb down and hide. Even here, when a breaker is about to spot them, a soldier arrives and shoots it, but when the bullet does nothing, he draws his sword and bravely slices off the breaker's head. The soldier removes the helmet, and it's Mary. She's the one who saved her family. She orders them to run toward the forest, and John and Willa sprint away. While running, Willa sees the brutal reality of the war, corpses everywhere and wounded people all around. A man had also been infected by a bite. His skin was turning black, and to protect everyone, the soldier had to shoot him. Reaching the edge, John sees blood on Mary's face, but Mary says she's fine. Meanwhile, they see a break coming up behind them. Mary has to make a very difficult choice. She tells her family to go on without her and stays behind to hold off the monster. Willa keeps screaming and crying for her mom, but John, heart heavy, drags his daughter away. By morning, John and Willa reach the seashore, where John had hidden a boat, but there's a man there, trembling with fear. He has a gun, and flashing it, he tells them he's coming with them, and climbs into the boat, even though John knows it's far too small. The boat can't handle the weight of 3 people. So John makes an excuse and lures the man away. We don't see it, but it's clear John killed that man to save his daughter. He returns alone and sets out to sea with Willa. They reach a deserted island and spend a year there. John and Willa figure out ways to survive on the island. Willa has grown up now, and she's become very strong. Her dad keeps training her to fight breakers. He even built a training field here using materials from the jungle. Their little family had found some peace. But whenever they looked at the mainland through their binoculars, Willa grew very sad because she missed her mom. The breaks were still wreaking havoc out there. John asks Willa how you kill breaks. Willa answers, cut off the head, and he says, good. Willa trained incredibly hard. She fell, got hurt, but never gave up, practicing for hours every day to reach her goal. She was training more than ever. She needed a lot of protein, so she stole 2 pigeon eggs and left one behind so they could still hatch chicks. Days pass like this, and then one day, Willa meets a little girl named Rosie on the island. She tells her that her mom Savita has died, and that she made it to this island all by herself. Willa hides her in a cave and even rations her own food to share with her. Rosie was very sad here, so to cheer her up, Willa would tell her little stories here, to make her smile. She even tells the story of Cody, who once took down more than 100 in a single go. Now Willa goes home, and the next day they train again. While training, Willa notices she can no longer hear John behind her. When she looked back, she saw that John had collapsed. She supported him and brought him home, and learned that to keep training her, her dad hadn't eaten for many days. He was saving his food and giving it to Willa so she'd have the strength to train. Willa feels terrible seeing this, and to cheer her up, John gives her his scarf, saying that she has earned his respect. The next day, Willa goes back to the same cave where she had hidden Rosie. Seeing everything scattered there, she gets very worried. She sees Rosie standing in the dark. But now she was no longer a child. Her head wound had become infected, and she had turned into a hybrid monster. Rosie attacks Willa. Willa tries to run to save her life but falls down. The monster gets on top of her, and at that very moment John arrives and tries to shoot the hybrid, but the bullets have no effect. Then John slashes it with his sword and finally kills it by crushing its head. Willa is devastated. Rosie had become her friend. John says this isn't the time to cry. The monster's scream must have alerted the other breakers to this place. They must have gotten the signal. So now they have to run. They start running toward the other side. While running, a huge chasm appears in the path. Willa jumps over it, but John stays back because Rosie's brother, who had also become a monster, shows up. Willa's dad can't even fight him. He's way too strong. He makes an emotional decision and tells Willa that she has to go on alone. It's very hard for her to do. So she comes back and, for the first time in her life, faces a monster and saves her dad by cutting off the monster's head with her sword. And just as they're about to leave, she sees that even headless, the monster is still dangerous. In fact, John had only crushed its head. Seeing his daughter's courage, he also musters up courage, gets up, and crushes the monster's head, killing it. Even after defeating this monster, the danger isn't over, because another hybrid is coming from the front. John was injured and could barely walk. Here, Willa shows courage again, uses her training, and while running she lands a single strike on this monster that slices through its head and defeats it in one blow. After that, Willa helps her dad to the beach. But once they reach the beach, John doesn't get on the board. He silently shows Willa his bite. It turns out the hybrid had bitten him too, and now he was infected as well. Seeing this, Willa breaks down. She can't touch her dad, but in his final moments he tells her that she's a warrior like her mom and will go on to do great things. He forces her to sit on the board and leave. Willa cuts the rope and paddles the board herself. From behind, we see that blood has started to come from John's eyes. He wasn't transforming yet. It's just that his fever wasn't coming down, and now her dad was turning into a full monster. To fight her dad, she picks up the sword herself. But she didn't know that in front of her there weren't just one, but many monsters. Here too, the mountain splits open and the remaining breakers pour out. And seeing them, Willa panics. She has now prepared herself to die. But at the same time, we're shown that from the sea, on 2 boats, soldiers are coming to fight the breakers, and leading them is Mary, Willa's mom. Seeing whom Willa doesn't know how to feel. She can't tell what she's feeling. At the same time, she's scared and happy to meet her mom. They are now ready to take on all the breakers. And it ends here after showing everyone gearing up.